This week, we've got something new and a little bit different from our partners at ROKA. And this one is too large to fit in a box. It is the new Transition Pack. And of course, we will have some of these to give away at the end. In fact, we're actually giving away 3 of these transition packs. All you need to do is watch to the end to find out exactly how you can have the chance of winning your very own transition pack. But for now, I think it's time that we got unboxing, or in this case, unzipping. Well, as you can see, it's looking rather full, and we are going to be delving inside, but before we go into details there, we're going to take a look at the outside. Now, this bag is labelled a transition pack, but that does not sell the whole story. This is not purely a bag for transition on race day. It's about transitioning from your everyday life to your training life, to being a triathlete, to travelling through airports. The designers really have considered every eventuality. Right, well, let's look at the numbers first. So it's actually got a 36-litre capacity, and it comes in at 22 inches high, 13 inches across, and then 9 inches deep. Now that actually complies with airport hand luggage regulations, so you can fill it up and still travel with it very easily. Well, obviously being this size, if it's full, it can get pretty heavy. So they've thought of that. If we look at the back here with these padded shoulder straps that are adjustable both at the top and the bottom, so you can find the comfortable fit, which is especially useful if you're lugging heavy hand luggage through airports, and it can end up being a long day carrying a bag. And also, if you want to go out adventuring a little bit further, it's got this adjustable piece here, which you can move up or down to fit around your chest or your waist for that extra security. But I think before we look any further, I need to try this on. Well, as much as it is a bag that's aimed at triathlon, I actually feel ready to head out on an adventure with this. And I know that the designers certainly put the bag through its paces, so much so that the CEO, Rob Canales, actually went out into the desert for a weekend and used solely this bag to carry all of his needs. Right, back to the everyday use of this bag. And whilst we're on the topic of carrying it, it does actually have 3 handles for ease of use. It's got one here on the top and then these 2 side handles, which are all reinforced both for comfort and durability when picking it up. Right, the final part on the outside before we start looking into the pockets is its structure. You can see that it's stood up on its own right now, and it's actually got this internal rigid structure that makes it more comfortable for carrying, but also means it stands up whether it's fully packed like it is now or whether it's almost empty. Well, as you can see, there are plenty of options for carrying your kit inside and out, and I particularly like this idea for the helmet, because obviously it's actually recommended that if you're flying, for example, you don't pack your helmet in your main luggage, you carry it in your hand luggage. But also if you're cycling to work or to training, and then you don't want to leave your helmet on your bike and you attach it to the outside of your bag, and there's nothing more annoying than it flipping around and banging and getting scratched. So this not only protects it, it keeps it out of the way very nicely. But if you don't actually want this extra pouch, you can just unclip it both at the top and the bottom and leave it at home. Well, the other obvious external pockets are these on either side, and these are actually designed for your water bottles, and amazingly, they can stretch enough to carry 2 standard sized water bottles, both on this side and the other. And if you don't want to use water bottles, you can use them quite easily to put maybe dirty or damp kit that you don't want inside your bag. Gosh, I hardly know where to start with the zip pockets, but as we've moved the drinks bottle, I think it makes sense to start with this one behind here. Now, obviously you can see it's the size of a drinks bottle, so if you wanted to keep your bottle inside and keep it clean, or maybe cold and away from the sun, you have this option here with, again, a mesh pocket and a normal pocket here, or just for any other kit. And it's exactly the same both on this side and the other. We're now moving back to the front of the bag, and we've removed the helmet, and we have this big pouch underneath with more zip compartments, both in the mesh sections here and then a more protected one, as well as sections for your pen or your wallet. And then this little sleeve I quite like. You can keep a tablet or a phone in. It's actually got a protected foam bit inside just to keep all of your kit nice and safe. Well, moving on up, staying on the front, we've got more pockets up here. Now, there's this one on the top of the flap, which is actually designed to keep your sunglasses in, nice and handy. And then underneath that, we have 2 more pockets here, which I personally find quite useful for keeping my wallet in. Just makes it really easy to access. Right, now to take a look at the insides. And this bag is really rather like Mary Poppins' bag, because it just has so many segments and areas that just keep appearing. Well, we're going to start at the top of this section, and as you can see, there's another mesh zip, great for keeping your nutrition in. There's another zip mesh pocket here as well, and then this quite useful stretchy mesh for just sticking in any other extra bits of kit. But it's here where you're going to keep the majority of your kit. There's actually 3 separate sections. So we'll start at the top with this one. I've actually just filled it with some of my kit for the time being. Let's take that out of the way. And then you can see inside of this, we've got more pouches. And that actually goes the same through all of these. Then there's another middle section, which I filled with my trainers. And then this bottom section has another bag inside it that comes with the bag. It's actually a dry bag that fits a wetsuit inside. So you can go and do your open water swim, put your wetsuit back in here, put it in the bottom of your bag and keep it out of the way. Or if you don't want to have all of these separate segments, they're actually all interconnected and you can remove the layers by simply taking out the Velcro, and then you have one big open bag. But it does mean things can get lost in the bottom, so these layers separating just help you keep all your kit that bit more organised. And ROKA have even thought about zipping the bag back up and unzipping it, because they've made it even easier by adding these larger finger loops that just make it easy to grab hold of. And now there's one last feature which I almost forgot about because it is very discreet and hidden. If we spin the bag around to this side here, we've got one final zip that opens up to give a laptop compartment case. Now, this is incredibly useful and something that I would definitely want to use when I'm traveling through an airport, because there's nothing worse than having to take all your stuff out to try and find your laptop, and then at the end when you want to put it back in, it just doesn't go. So a very useful thought, and they really have considered everything when it comes to this bag. Now for the exciting part, and I expect it's a bit you've been waiting for all video, because as I mentioned, we are giving away 3 of these bags, and it's pretty simple. All you need to do is click on the link in the description below and follow the instructions. You'll have to answer a simple question and then you're in with a chance to win one of these bags. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this, so hit the globe to subscribe to make sure you get all of our videos from GTN. And if you want to see a video on how walking in a race can actually help you end up with an overall faster time, well, that video can be found just here. And if you want to see David McNamee's triathlon tips, that video can be found just here.